Reverend Tapple, and members of the Church of this Holy City. On this day that the Lord has given us, let us rejoice in it. Katrina, thank you so much for the invitation to speak to you all, and I do apologize for my computer glitches. It is my pleasure to share my testimony with you all today, with the hope and prayer that someone will find something in my story to take away, to assist them or someone else that they know, and allow some part of this wisdom, this long in their purpose in life. So thank you for that lovely introduction. So I am Kimberly Lassiter. I currently serve as the supervisory of forensic and mortuary. So I have been promoted. Previously, I was the manager of the medical examiner transport team. I carried that unit for 5 years, and I'm looking to continue my career and hopefully retire from this side. So I have crossed back over into the teaching of autopsy, which is my first love. And that allows me to really have hands-on the decedents that come through the medical examiner's office. I would like to bring you all up to date in my journey with Christ, because I think that's crucial in this deliverance here today, because I wasn't always a faithful leader. And I began to question my Christianity at age 21 when I did lose my mother, because I was so not understanding of how such a God could take a mom from 6 kids, because I had no idea what to do, which way to turn, or who to turn to. And so as my journey went on, and I, started following this path, being such an angry young lady, angry at God and questioning him, which was something I had never done before because I wasn't raised that way. But through my questions, I started getting answers, and I've always had an audience of older people in my life. I've always felt connected to elder people because they seem to be the most wise. And during my questioning, a neighbor of mine, I was so angry, and I said, why would God do such a thing? Why would he take a mother from 6 children? And she said, and I said, why me? And she said, why not you? And I think that was kind of like the turning point in my life, because I could never wish such a thing on another human. I knew that he built me forward tough. I knew that I was strong enough to carry out whatever it was that he had set for me. And I have done such during my career. I'd like to talk about a little bit about my career with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. I've been there now 27 years, and I've been through so many trials and tribulations and trying to develop processes and teach processes for purposes of identification. Because when I first started at the medical examiner's office, first of all, we didn't have many resources. So we had to be quite inclined to depend on ourselves and to go back in that mind of ours and be a little more creative, as to compare it to needing a Phillips screwdriver when you could just use a butter knife. So it was my pleasure to create many processes during that time. And I came at a time when the homicide rate was at an all-time high. I think that people believe that the homicide rate is extremely high right now, but what it is it is an uptick from a calm. So 10 years ago, we had, over the past 7 to 10 years, we've had such a calm, and now the numbers are going back up. But when I first started at the medical examiner's office, there was nothing for us to have 7 to 10 homicides per day. Now we're dealing with the drugs and the fentanyl. there were times when we never had two decedents overdose in the same place at the same time. Now, we know that people fall victim to drugs for various reasons in our society. And we hope that, churches such as yourself and people like me can speak to them and hopefully guide them in a different direction. But life is very hard without one believing in God, because if you don't, then they don't have any hope. And so I think that's a huge responsibility for us. There's so much more to do, and there always will be. When we extend one hand to another, we can never forget that a hand was extended to us. And it doesn't matter if it was a human or if we just looked up to the sky, because I truly believe if we don't have that hope in life, that we just can't be successful. Everything has to do with God and his deliverance, and how we develop a relationship with him that allows us to bond and deliver and accept relationships from other people. And when I say accept relationships from other people, I mean that some folk are going through difficult times today, and it's not very easy to reach them because they may be in a difficult situation. So they're not willingly accepting our hand. So I just pray for all of us that can hear me and all of the people that you all touch every day, that they not give up. Please don't ever give up. I began my career with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner maybe 27 years ago as an autopsy technician. That and creating a process of hand rehydration allowed me to come up with some processes that identify people that couldn't be identified by face. I also came at a difficult time when we had a serial killer. So we were locating and transporting prostitutes that had been couldn't be identified because of the amount of trauma that they had. I think that's to put it mildly, because I don't expect everyone to be able to take on my description. I don't want to fear anyone. I just want to let you all know how cruel some people can really be. And we have to keep ourselves surrounded around the more positive people in life, and it'll lead us in a better direction. However, I'd like to talk about the COVID disaster morgue. And I feel that the COVID disaster morgue was one of my greatest accomplishments. It was so surreal, an out-of-body experience, if you will. I have never, in all of my years, had the capacity of the medical examiner's morgue be filled to capacity, and trying to identify a type of respectful way and teach my team or hold their hand and walk with them in faith, because we were dealing with a disease that we didn't know how we would make it through, let alone go into someone's house and transport them to a morgue in which we had no space for. So along with the help of Danielle Harvin, our Navy, and all of our people that assisted us with this huge project that allowed us to create a morgue that held over 600 decedents, never misplacing one. And just reading the news about different jurisdictions really took my heart to another level, because I wish I could have cloned myself and my thoughts to allow them to see what great accommodations, if you will, that we were able to create for these decedents. I refused to put a decedent on the floor. I find that quite disrespectful, and we did no such thing. So when we received these trailers, well, we first had to find a site where no one could know where we were. So that's why we called it the secret morgue, because we didn't want people over there oohing and ahhing as if these were animals or pictures, if you will. we wanted to always maintain a certain level of dignity and respect for these decedents. And as the numbers climbed and so many hospitals that we visited, you start to remember names. And, you know, there are a lot of Smiths and there are a lot of Youngs and there are a lot of so many last names that are so popular until you start realizing that this is one family. You know, you go to a hospital, you pick up a decedent, and it may be Tandruitt Smith, and then you go back the next day, and then you pick up the father. And then in 2 days, you go to the house and you pick up the mom. So then you have a whole family down at your morgue. You know, and it was really heart-wrenching, but to create such a system with the leadership of God was phenomenal. I mean, just by his hand and his guidance, allowing us to create a system where no decedent was displaced. And we created a routine release program with our funeral directors like no other. And I'm telling you, it was amazing to see other jurisdictions struggle as such. You know, we could get on the phone and have conversations with them and tell them what we're doing, but we couldn't give them the staff that we had. The way we built that was extraordinary as well, but we got a lot of hands to reach out. And the people that I trained, I made sure that they knew what my expectations were, and could they not deliver the level of dignity and respect that these decedents needed, then I couldn't use them at my site. So that was a successful, very successful transition for me. I think I was able to teach a lot of young people that were in the military, that worked for funeral homes, because we had a lot of volunteers as well, to not just teach them the level of dignity and respect that these people deserve, but to understand who we were being guided by. So if they didn't believe in God, I can truly tell you that they do now. They've sent me patches off their shirts that they travel all over the world. They've given me like challenge coins. I mean, it was an amazing adventure. And I'm looking, you know, should such another occasion arise, I will be happy to step in, because there was nothing like that. And in my life, I've always been looking for a way to please God, but not necessarily be rewarded for it. I feel like doing a good deed is the right thing to do. We don't need to be pat on the back. You know, although we have to be safe in today's society with our adventures to reach out and help people that need such a thing, we have to be very mindful and very careful. Yes, so I believe, you know, that course of losing my mom challenged my faith. Accepting this job at the medical examiner's office transitioned my life into a different type of love for him that I didn't even know was possible. It can be quite scary sometimes, you know, when you wonder how you're going to be able to accomplish something or how you'll get through. I always tell myself and my children that anything is possible through him, but you have to believe and you have to nourish and respect the relationship that you have with him. All 6 of my children are successful. The majority of them I put through college. They're married, they're living good lives, and they're moving on. And so I don't know what my husband and I are going to do now, but you know, I also mentored. I think I mentored for maybe about 10 years, and they were at-risk youth. Those children, I believe I did 10. I know that 8 of them are doing successfully well. They have homes and their children are doing well. Two of them, I lost, one to gun violence and the other to an illness. So I just believe if we can reach one, we can teach one.